Welcome to the New and Improved podcast. My name is Migdalia, and you're listening to Life with Migdalia. Honestly, this isn't my first podcast, and if you guys are listening from my following or like getting notifications from the previous podcast that I had, which was Happily Abandoned, and before that it was Happy Abandonment, and my whole motto, I guess, is starting over. And if you've heard previous episodes, there's quite that same theme throughout my whole entire time doing podcasting, I guess. But this is more me like getting into it, I guess. And previously Happily Abandoned or Happy Abandonment, it was more so the theme of having one niche. And I don't really want that anymore because it makes it seem like it's all about one thing and I have to talk about one thing. And when I don't talk about that one thing, it makes it less of a theme and just more, I don't know, I don't want it to be just one thing. If you hear any random noises, it's probably my dog. Milo, go lay down. Bed, go. He is always by my side with me with everything I do, even when I'm going to the bathroom. And if you have a dog, you know how it is. They just like to be up your asshole. As for what I was saying, I'm redoing it. And I've redone it once, and I didn't really stick with it. But here's the kicker, I guess. In my transition of moving from a different state, because I started off in Michigan and now I'm in Kansas, I have been so humbled and more so trying to gain new perspective on how I want things done. So the theme of this podcast and the photos and everything that go along with it, it's more so me and not what I think other people are wanting. Maybe one day I'll change it again, but still keep kind of the theme going as well. But this podcast is me in a way that it's kind of for me. Because I've missed podcasting. I've missed coming on here talking, but it just got so exhausting of playing a role that I thought I had to do and keeping up with everything while having a full-time job, and it became such a burden. And I don't want it to be that way because I do enjoy it. It's just one of those things that kind of nag at me in the back of my mind of, oh, we should do this again, we should do this, or we should do this. And I'm having such a hard time honing in on like a hobby or a side thing that keeps me sane. So I'm giving this another shot, another go. And maybe it'll stick. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But I just find talking out loud to be very therapeutic. And I should have started this back up all over again. But I was in such a deep mental low that I just couldn't find my way back to who I was. And if you are listening and you've known me personally, like my friends listening or coming over from the Happily Abandoned portion or whatever, it's going to be different. It's going to be better for me, I guess we should say. But I'm gonna try to do better. I'm going to more so do it for myself because it's what I needed. And as I said before, this move has humbled me in ways that I never thought I would be humbled. And I'm gonna dive so far into it. And I just hope that you guys stick around because I know that if I'm struggling or struggled, then a lot of people have also done the same thing. And that's basically what I've always said too. I guess where it started is the past year I've felt myself slipping into this gloomy state of mind where I just can't seem to dig my way back to my sunshine, sunflower self, if that makes sense. And it all leads back to a job that I had that didn't value me and didn't see me for what I wanted them to see me. But I am going to take the accountability of I could have done better at that time too. I was just slipping so far into myself that it was hard to keep afloat. Mind you, I also have seasonal depression, and it kind of went hand in hand with that. But I ended up getting let go back in May to previously state that, like that previous fall, I had asked my boss if I could learn more and like do more. And overall, just, I don't know, learn as much as I could about a business. And I just kept getting met with, no, you're not taking my job. Like, I'm not going to teach you, yada, yada. And that put me in like okay, so I'm at this dead end job doing absolutely nothing where nobody values me. And I'm doing the same thing over and over again to the point where this is insanity. So I slipped into myself. It caused me putting less effort into my relationships. It put me in a state of mind of thinking, okay, maybe I'm just not good enough. It put me in a state of mind of just wanting to give up kind of on everything. And then when I got let go, because I didn't want to be there, I had that attitude, like nobody actually wants to work. And I was talking about this to one of my other coworkers / mentor at my new job, that nobody actually wants to work. If you ask anybody, even if they're doing something that they love, I guess, what would you rather be? Would you rather be at home, like getting stuff done, doing the things that you want to do, or would you rather be at work? Like nobody typically is going to choose, oh yeah, I'd rather work. Which is fine. And I've come to terms with that. And I've come to terms with the fact, like, the past 7 years of that experience have taught me a lot, and it allowed me to go to school and get 2 degrees. An associate's in graphic design and a bachelor's in applied management. And I could live on my own, and I could afford living on my own, and it was great. So, in that aspect, I have to be grateful. I was able to do things and afford all of my bills and then some. I was able to travel and go out with friends and go to bars and do whatever I wanted to do, but I was so stuck in my head this past year of, oh my God, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, and I kind of just manifested not being able to afford it because the subconscious mind or whatever, you say things that, and it comes true, you know what I mean? So moving to Kansas and like after, which I had the mind of like, oh yes, we're moving to Kansas. And then after I got let go, I had to find a couple of jobs to support me until the move. And during those jobs, I kept saying, okay, wait until this time and this will happen. I just have to wait to get to this point for this to happen. I just have to wait. And telling myself that, I had so many expectations for when I finally did get here, me and my girlfriend, like finally moving, because she's from here. She's from Kansas. And the plan all along was to move down here. and I had a job lined up, which was the only thing that was going to make it better in my mind, because this has been all about financial security. Because when you don't have financial security or stability, how are you going to live? How are you going to be able to afford any of your bills? Gas money, groceries. So it was very hard for me to transition, and I thought I had a job lined up when I got here. I had an interview. I was ready to go. They had waited 3 weeks for me to get down here to do this interview. So I was like, I got this in the bag. I'm adorable. I'm great. I got these amazing skills. My resume is top notch. It's good to go. And then they had asked me what my goal was for the future. And I was like, oh yeah, like I want growth. I'm looking for growth to be able to move up, right? Who doesn't? And come to find out, they didn't really like that answer, because it was for a bank, and in the bank industry, I guess, there's not much room for growth. And I feel like people have it in such their heads, like if somebody says, oh, I want growth, they immediately take it as, I want to take your job. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen. I don't want to take anyone's job. I don't want to make you feel like it's a competition. Yeah, maybe, sure it is, but to me, it's not. I'm just here to do what I gotta do the best way that I know how and be done. Like, I'm looking to get my feet on the ground. So that rejection kind of kick-started all other rejections. And when I tell you that rejection, especially from jobs, is so hard on you mentally, I'm not kidding. I hate doing things like around the house or just staying home all the time. Like, I hate it. I am not one of those people that can just be at home all the time doing nothing or cleaning or cooking or whatever. I'm not like a housewife. I can be. Like, I clean, I cook, I do the laundry, I take care of the dog, and eventually maybe when my girlfriend and I have children, like, I can stay home for a couple months and do that. But when I tell you that I want to do anything else but sit in these four walls doing absolutely nothing, and it's not like I could go out and do anything, because one, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Two, it's hotter than shit in Kansas, okay? You could step outside for 2 seconds and you're already dripping sweat. And it feels like your deodorant that you just put on, gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So you just have to keep reapplying. And I sweat like crazy. I don't know why. I wish I was one of those girls who like barely sweat and they're like, hee hee ha, like, oh my God, I like don't even sweat. I don't even sweat. It's so cool. No, I sweat buckets. So stepping out into this Kansas heat, immediately like an ice cream cone, dripping. My t-shirt's soaked, my shorts are soaked, socks, shoes, whatever. I'm standing in my own puddle. So being able to go for a walk during the summer, and they have rattlesnakes here. Not used to that. If you're listening and you're from Michigan, not used to that. I have been to various different places around the U.S., Virginia, California, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio. Where else have I been? In Illinois, Missouri. Like, I've been to those places. Which, a lot of, everywhere is different, and it's so weird to think about. Like, Michigan doesn't really have rattlesnakes. We don't really have venomous snakes in Michigan. Kansas? Yeah. Rattlesnakes, scorpions, they have this like black snake, I don't know, copperheads, I think. tarantulas. They're grasshoppers here. Oh my God, they're the size of your finger. I swear to God. They make Michigan grasshoppers look like ants. I'm not even kidding. It's wild. It's ridiculous. So if I want to go for a walk, I'm like constantly feeling like I'm itching because even if I touch grass sometimes, I feel like there's bugs all over me. Thankfully, the weather is cooling down and it's getting better. But I've been struggling sitting here watching endless shows, thinking, when is the time going to be where I'm finally making a regular paycheck, when I can afford paying my bills, when I can afford going out and making friends, because I don't have friends here yet. And I kept telling myself, when the time comes, this will happen, and it's a constant waiting game. I'm always in a waiting game. Wait for this to happen and this will happen. Wait for this day and then this will happen. Wait to do this and, everything will fall into place. And it's so difficult trying to do that because it's like waiting for your life to start. And I'm almost 27 years old, okay? My birthday is in 2-3 weeks. And my God, I feel like I've failed at trying to kickstart my life. I've constantly had to start over in my life, which is something that happens to everyone. Maybe some more than others. Starting over in a different town, starting over in a relationship, starting over at a school, starting over at a job, a new home, having children. Like, these experiences are constantly making us start over and reevaluate our lives and who we are and what we want. And it's hard. It is incredibly difficult because we have, especially me, so many expectations on how our lives are going to turn out and what we're supposed to do. Doing all of this has made me really think like, oh my God, everything does have a reason. Because those 2 months I waited for something to happen and now it has, and I feel like I'm very much fit into the new job that I have had to kickstart my career, and I'm so excited for it. Like, I'm a multi-unit team leader and I'm in charge of like 3 different locations, and it's more so seasonal, so I have to figure out what's going to happen when the time comes. But struggling has also hurt my relationship because I haven't been putting the effort in to fight for myself, I guess, and do better. I've also let my girlfriend down in a lot of ways of putting less effort into the relationship because everything else is hard and I'm just trying to keep up. I'm trying to survive. But here's the thing that I've realized. The way to get out of a funk and out of this gloomy state of mind is more so, I guess, distracting yourself by doing other things for people. Put that effort into your relationships. It gives you purpose. Do something with your time. Give yourself a project to do. try to figure out a game plan of what you want your life to be. Journal, read, go for a walk, which I have yet to do. Make a routine for yourself. Go outside. Some of these ideas are something my girlfriend gave me to help me feel better, and I didn't do them before because I'm not going to go outside and sweat my tit off. Like, I don't want to do that. But the weather's getting cooler and now I want to go for a run, which helps dopamine levels, mind you. I'm just really scared of rattlesnakes. Ooh. But you have to put effort into other things in order to fill your own cup, if that makes sense. Because if you're distracted, not too distracted, because we still want to self-reflect and, figure our shit out. But distract yourself enough until something better does come along. And I guess that's another thing that played into effect of my life being gloomy and just feeling like shit all the time was last year or 2 years ago, my life was fantastic and I was romanticizing my life and I was going out and I was making friends and socializing and hanging out with my other friends and just doing everything that I wanted to do. And now looking back, I'm like, damn. My life has changed so much so fast. I'm not friends with a couple of the people that used to be in my friend group like 2 years ago. And I hardly talk to the ones that are in the friend group of last year. My life is so different, and I should say, in the headspace of like, okay, I've been waiting for a better life. There's that word again, waiting. I've been waiting for a better life. And once it gets better, all the shitty things that have happened in the last year are going to make it so worth it. So here I am again, waiting for that to happen. And I think I just need to be more grateful. Which a lot of people realize, like, oh, you just need gratitude, needed a journal, you need to do your little gratitude things every morning when you wake up. I've also realized that when you wake up and you set an intention for the day, it typically happens. For example, if you wake up, okay? I shouldn't say if, because, if you're listening, you're awake, right? When you wake up in the morning, as soon as you open your little peepers, set an intention for the day. Set the thought of today's going to be a great day. And watch you have a great day. My girlfriend and I bickered a lot last week, and it's probably because we were starting our periods at the same time. You never know. But there has been a lot of bickering and arguing over the dumbest shit, okay? It happens in almost every relationship. You get to that point where you're arguing and bickering over the dumbest thing. I woke up one day last week because we had been bickering or arguing for like 3 or 4 days straight. And on that 4th day, I woke up and I was like, you know what? We are not going to argue today. We are going to have a great day together. And it's going to be amazing. And sure as shit, we did not argue or bicker that whole entire day. And it was, in fact, a great day. So maybe that's part of the manifestation of, doing the work, I guess. I don't know. But another thing that I decided was I'm no longer gloomy. And it's like a thing in my head of like visualizing me looking at myself in a mirror. And I'm seeing the sunshine me who's happy and positive and whatever all the time in the reflection. And current me is gloomy and whatever. And it was one of those thoughts where I just reached through the mirror, grabbed sunshine me, and kind of just switched positions in the mirror, trying to get rid of the person who was gloomy and sad and just not thinking positively and thinking that it's never going to get better. Because I'm so tired of being that way. I'm so tired of having such a negative outlook on life. And I promised myself years ago that whatever you do, don't let the world harden you. And I guess I kind of let myself down in that way. But here's me getting back up and finally saying enough is enough. And yeah, sure, I'm going to have those days where I feel like shit, maybe. They all can't be good days. But I've been through a lot worse. A lot worse. And I tell myself that too. Like, this is my first healthy relationship. So when her and I argue, I kind of have the mindset of, dude, I've literally been through worse. Because one of my exes would like scream in my face. To the point where like he'd spit on me as well. And he'd throw things and he'd break my things. It was just awful. My girlfriend doesn't do any of that. Like, she'll get upset because I have this issue where I get so defensive and I go 0 to 100 when it comes to not listening. Like, you tell me something and I'm like holding on to it for dear life and I can't really hear anything else. And I don't know why. Like, I mean, I do know why psychologically. And if we need to bring up like past stuff, I get so defensive because I always feel like I have to defend myself, especially as a kid, because I've always had a hard time putting my thoughts into actual words where people understand what the hell I'm talking about. And it's always been one of my things. Like, I can illustrate it, I can make the visuals, but getting them from my brain out of my mouth in a way that can articulate my thoughts so perfectly has always been challenging. And maybe that's an autistic trait. I don't know. Maybe that's an ADHD thing. Who knows? But I feel defensive because I can't ever get my thoughts out properly, and I kind of just shut down in a way that's like, I don't, like, you asked me a question. My mic just fell. You asked me a question in a way that's like, this is what I'm talking about. For example, if you're arguing with someone and they're kind of like, okay, explain to me why you did this. And you're like, I don't know. Like, you're flustered constantly trying to explain yourself. That's how I always feel in a disagreement, even as a kid. And my dad, growing up, always thought that I was lying, even when I wasn't lying. So he would like constantly hit me with question after question after question after question just to get me to slip up to see if I was actually lying. And if it didn't make sense to him, he'd be like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then I'd be like, no, because this is blah, blah, blah. And then my mom would kind of have to translate between both of us because he's speaking in weird ways and using big words that confuse me. And yeah. But it's always been difficult. And I kind of like do that as an adult now too. So I don't know if I need therapy again or speech class. I don't know. Who knows? I can do it on paper. I can write things out beautifully, I guess. Poetry has always been my strong suit. Actual literature and grammar, not so much, okay? But podcasting really helped me before. It's just the fact of making it a habit instead of a chore, you know? It started to feel that way. And when things become chores, I really just don't want to do them. Kind of like how sex used to be. Am I right, ladies? I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Even before I came out, like, I felt like sex was a chore in my 2 previous relationships. Actually, hold on. My first, I want to say, I guess, long-term relationship, I used sex as a way to not, like, I don't know, really talk because I didn't really like the person that I was with. Like, he was just a title. I mean, they were all titles, I guess. But the second one, the most previous, it was more of a chore. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I didn't even really like being with him in general. Like, again, it was a role that I had to play because I hadn't realized all the factors that had shown themselves throughout the years that I was actually gay and preferred women. Like, it was very difficult for me to emotionally connect, and I didn't really give a shit about sex and feeling, I don't know, emotionally connected to that person. Because even when I said I'm not in the mood, it would always turn into, what, are you just not attracted to me anymore? You don't want anything to do with me? What's wrong with you? You're always horny. Blah, blah, blah. What do you mean you don't want to have sex? To the point where even if I got out of the shower and he saw me naked, he'd get turned on and then I'd have to deal with, sex. And I didn't want to do that. So it came to the point where I would try so hard just to avoid him seeing me naked. So that way I just didn't have sex. Because women, we are not horny all the time. Being with my girlfriend, I learned we are not supposed to be horny all the time. It's not normal. And if you're listening to this and you're in the same boat, girl, I'm telling you, you do not have to be horny all the time. Yeah, if you're turned on, go for it. Sure. Yeah, have a great time. And when I'm under a lot of stress or I'm not feeling like myself, I don't want to have sex either. But I understand the difference and knowing when it feels like a chore versus me feeling like I'm not up for it with my girlfriend. Like these past couple months, we haven't done it a whole lot, which is fine. Like she's not in the mood all the time either. Plus, we're living with her dad, so it's kind of like, weird, especially. I don't know. And I'd rather just be more free to do it when we have our own place and it's just us. So we're not bothering people, because I don't want people hearing me. But there's always that difference of knowing yourself, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. I've been in toxic and abusive relationships, so anything that happens in this relationship is not even close to what I've dealt before, and it's mainly just me lack of effort on my end because I'm just trying to survive. I was just trying to survive. And now I'm trying to do better and be better. Not only for myself, but for my girlfriend and my friends. Because my girlfriend especially deserves the best of who I was. Who I am, not who I was. Because we've been through a lot together. And yeah, couples are going to struggle, and it's not always going to be 50-50. Sometimes it's going to be 90-10 or 60-40 or whatever else. I just know that I have to do better because I'm so tired of not giving a shit and being numb. I had more of a thought process to go off of that, but if you're new, you're gonna find that my brain goes all over the place because ADHD. ADHD! Renee Rapp says. No, but I'm really just trying to get my spark back and be who I was before shit kind of hit the fan and life made me feel like I wasn't good enough and nothing's gonna get better quickly. 2.5 months later, and life is now starting to make sense. You just have to give it time. And if you're struggling like I was mentally, it just takes time. Things do not last forever, especially bad days and gloomy moments. The rainy days are always temporary. And everything starts to make sense at some point. For example, when I got let go, I did like a retail job, and I also did, what the hell was it? A spa. Like I managed a spa. And my boss now, she did retail for years. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the factors that allowed me to get this job is my range of knowledge in different areas. And she just looked at retail on my resume, and that probably helped me land this job. A job that will help me develop skills better to manage a business, to get better with people skills. I know people say, like, oh, everything happens for a reason, but when I tell you everything happens for a reason, I'm not lying. And one day, hopefully soon, you'll realize that too. Or maybe you already have. Some people realize it sooner than others. And it's definitely a journey. And we can't just fast forward to the good parts, because if we fast forward to the good parts, we miss the bad parts that make us appreciate those good moments. And that's what life is all about. Unfortunately, we have to have the bad days. We have to have those shitty little moments to help us get to the good parts that make it feel so amazing. Because if we have nothing to compare it to, then we have nothing to compare it to. And we're always going to feel like it's not enough. And if you're like me, always setting unrealistic goals for yourself, stop doing that. Like, I thought I was going to have all of my shit paid off within this year, and I really just kind of got tunnel vision, and then when it didn't happen, I just get disappointed in myself. Which added on to the gloomy moments and the sad feelings and not feeling good enough and, oh, life sucks, boo-hoo, me type of thing. And I wasn't enjoyable to be around. So, that's the most recent part of my life. And I hope you stick around for the journey, because I'm really going to try doing it better. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you know other people who can relate. Maybe you're here for the silly random little things that I say. Maybe you're wanting to know other experiences. Who knows? But another motto that I have is, if, we'll figure it out together, I guess. Milo, what are you doing, dude? I just gave him a bath, so I think his skin is like dry, and there's no way to moisturize a damn dog. Can you chill? Please. My goodness, just go lay down. Yes, you're a good boy. Thank you. Yes, I know. Do you have anything to say to the people? Do you have anything you want to add? No, okay. Go lay down. I'm also trying to get a part-time bartending job so I can make even more money, because your girl definitely needs it. The thing that I was going to add, if you want to follow me on social media, my Instagram is the same as the title, Life with Migdalia, or my regular is Migdalia Bonilla with an extra A, so MIGDALIA BONILLAA. And then my TikTok is like the same thing, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I will see you guys next time. I really don't know. I'm going to try and crank out these as much as possible. Another reason, in the past, I was just so freaking inconsistent that I feel absolutely awful. So, again, gonna try to do better. But yeah, so I'm Migdalia Bonilla, signing off.